All right, welcome to the Explainer. Today we're jumping into one of cartography's biggest and most fascinating mysteries. We're talking about a map that seems to show the impossible, drawn by a man who somehow saw more of the world than history says he ever should have. So I want you to picture this. It's the year 1513. The age of discovery is just hitting its stride. Magellan hasn't even sailed around the globe yet. We're talking about a world of vast, uncharted oceans and entire continents that are still just whispers and rumors. I mean, seriously, how do you do it? This was the #1 challenge for every mapmaker back then. They were piecing the world together based on sailors' stories, maybe a few fragmented charts here and there, and a whole lot of educated guesswork. And yet, one man, an Ottoman admiral and cartographer named Piri Reis, created a map so detailed and frankly so baffling that it's still messing with the heads of historians and scientists 500 years later. Okay, so let's get into it. Let's really take a look at this thing and figure out why it is so much more than just an old piece of parchment. Get this, it was rediscovered back in 1929, tucked away in Istanbul's Topkapi Palace. And it wasn't just a map. It was this incredible compilation of global knowledge, drawn on gazelle skin, and it's covered in all these little notes that start to reveal its secrets. And this is where it starts to get really weird. The first great puzzle, the thing that's launched 1,000 wild theories, is the map's geography. At first glance, it doesn't seem to make any sense. Okay, I want you to look closely at the very bottom of the map. You see that big landmass stretching out from South America? This one feature led a lot of people, most famously a professor named Charles Hapgood, to argue that this has to be Antarctica. Not only that, but an ice-free Antarctica, which would mean Piri Reis had access to knowledge from some kind of super ancient lost civilization. Now, it's a really cool idea, right? But when you really zoom in, that whole theory just kind of falls apart. That landmass isn't Antarctica at all. It's actually a dead ringer for the coastline of southern South America. I mean, you can even spot islands that are still there today, like the Malvinas or Falkland Islands, right where they're supposed to be.
So that's the real question, isn't it? If it is South America, what's the deal with that crazy bend to the east? It looks like a huge mistake, but it's not. It's actually a massive clue, pointing to a really sophisticated mapping technique that most people have totally forgotten about.
You know, we're all used to the maps we see in school, the Mercator projection, where the whole world is a neat rectangle. But that's just one way to flatten a round planet onto a flat surface. Piri Reis was playing a whole different ballgame. And here is the secret sauce. It's called an azimuthal projection. That distortion isn't a mistake, it's a feature. Think of it like looking down on the Earth from one single point high up in space. If you center that viewpoint right over, say, Cairo, which was kind of the center of the known world back then, boom, South America naturally curves to the east, exactly like you see on the map. It's not an error, it's pure geometric genius.
But this map is so much more than just coastlines and coordinates. It's also populated with all these strange creatures and legends. It's like a direct window into how the 16th century world saw all this new territory.
Take a look at this guy. Tucked away in the mountains of South America, Piri Reis drew this bizarre humanoid figure with its head on its chest and what looks like red hair. People have called it a demon, a spirit, you name it. But you know who tells us what it is? Piri Reis himself. He wrote right on the map that this monster is 7 spans long, but, and this is the key part, it's a harmless creature. He wasn't drawing actual monsters, he was just documenting the local stories and descriptions of weird animals he was hearing about from sailors. And this is what makes the map so brilliant. You see this stuff all over it. There are notes about sailors accidentally lighting a fire on a whale's back because they thought it was an island. There are drawings of one-horned and six-horned beasts, colorful parrots, and native people using strange black stones for their axes. It wasn't just for navigation. It was an encyclopedia of a newly discovered world. So, when you put all this together, the crazy advanced map projection, the weirdly accurate coastlines, all this detailed folklore, you have to ask the biggest question of all. How on earth did he know all this stuff? And oh boy, do the theories get wild. You've got people like the author Eric von Daniken, who claim the map's accuracy could only be explained by, aliens. But honestly, the real answer is just as fascinating, and it comes from the man himself.
He literally wrote it down for us. Right there on the map, in one of his notes, he states that the Western lands were drawn using a map made by Christopher Columbus. A map that, by the way, has been completely lost to history. We have no other record of it.
See, Piri Reis wasn't a mystic. He was a brilliant military admiral, and that meant he was a master at intelligence gathering. He tells us he compiled this chart from around 20 different sources: Portuguese charts, Arab maps, even ancient charts that supposedly dated back to the time of Alexander the Great. His genius wasn't in discovering these lands himself, but in pulling all the world's knowledge together into one incredible document. But the story doesn't end there. The incredible map we have today holds one final, tantalizing secret. It's not the whole picture, not even close.
Piri Reis presented his map to the Sultan in 1517, but after a long and amazing career, he was tragically executed. And his masterpiece, it seems, was lost with him. It just vanished for nearly 400 years before it was miraculously rediscovered during a palace renovation. And the key word there is rediscovered, because what they found was just a fragment. I mean, just look at that torn edge. You can see the map's internal grid of compass lines. They're called Curtis lines. They just stop. They're cut right off. This is proof positive that what survived is only one piece of a much larger world map. Based on the geometry of that grid, experts estimate that we're looking at only about the western third of the original map. We are missing the pieces that would have shown the rest of Europe, Asia, Africa, and who knows what other unknown lands. And that leaves us with the ultimate cliffhanger. The true mystery of the Piri Reis map isn't just what it shows us, but what it's still hiding from us, locked away on fragments of gazelle skin that have been lost to time.